Hey guys, Major Awesome here. So this short segment here is something I'm doing out of the ordinary. It's neither a review or a display per se. Here I'm doing a simple sharing. I was talking to Mindless earlier today, and he suggested that I share how I prepare my displays. So I came up with a few steps that I hope that you guys can follow. I don't claim to be the best ACBA artist out there, but I do take pride in the displays that I put out. So I just thought I'll share some simple steps. So what I have is what I call the start rule. So I'll quickly walk through the various steps in preparing a display. So this is actually a simple display I put up. So shortly I will go through the various steps in how I arrive at this final outcome. Step 1 is S for strategize. So a good display doesn't come out of nowhere. It doesn't miraculously appear. So it involves several things. Of course, the first thing is to get some inspiration. So inspiration can come in many forms. It can be from reading a graphic novel, for example. So you can replicate a cover, you can replicate a scene. There are other sources of inspiration. It can be through a movie you watched, Avengers movie for example, or the upcoming Iron Man movie. It can also come from pictures, cartoons, so on and so forth. But yeah, very simply, I have a very basic rule. I don't really believe in copying or taking elements from other people's, other ACBA artists' pictures. That's not really fresh. So I prefer to rely on the sources I mentioned previously. So inspiration, once you've gotten your idea, then of course there's some planning involved. So once you have your concept, you visualize what you want to do, it comes to the next step. So the next step in the process is what I call tooling up. So this is where you prepare all the elements involved in the display that you want to put together. So in this case, I'm just going to do a very simple display involving the Stealth Iron Man. Of course, if you are doing a display with more figures, then you will just get them prepared accordingly. So other elements you may want is definitely, of course, your cutouts. So here I have two that I want to use. You have your props. In this case, I'm using some flame props, and you will see why I need them much later. And if you are doing a scene that requires you to suspend a figure, for example, then definitely you need to prepare flight stands of different heights. Again, you may want to have different backdrops in different colors. You need to prepare the base, something on the ground. Maybe you want to do some concrete flooring, brick wall, whatever is necessary. You get all the elements together and that's where we proceed to the next step. So the next step is what I call assembly. So it's not just the figure and the other things. It's simple things like sticking the construction paper to the back of the scene, setting up your background, preparing your flight stands, doing the pose, and then starting to assemble the props and effects. So here you can see the Stealth Iron Man foot doesn't have any holes at the bottom, so I kind of stuck the flame effects at the sides of his feet, and then I'm going to put on the other elements like the cutouts. So we are still at the assembly stage. So nobody said it's easy. I've been at it for about 15 minutes. Stuff keeps falling off. The figure is tricky, can be tricky to balance sometimes. You may require more than one flight stand. Sticking the effects and cutouts on the figure may not take one attempt. It may fall out. So assembly, I think, is the most tedious step of the entire process. So okay, now that we've done with the assembly, we are moving on to the next phase. So R stands for review. So now that the assembly, the bulk of the work is done, it's time to review the setup and do some tweaking and adjustment. So let me see what is my optimal ideal posing. So it's likely to be this angle here. But as you can see, there's some wax sticking out from the side of the foot. So that will require some adjustment. The flame doesn't look like it's coming out from his bottom of his foot, so I'll probably have to tweak his leg further. That foot's fine, it looks believable. The smoke will need some adjustment, and the same goes with the cutout. So I'm going to do some adjustment right now. So I spent another 10 minutes or so tweaking the display. I've even moved the backdrop. So this is the final stage, which is what I call keep it crispy. So once you are thoroughly done with your review, then that's where you get your crispy display. So keep it crispy, guys. If you are not happy with the display, I seriously suggest not bothering to put up the pictures or videos for the community to view. I mean, you do it for your own enjoyment, but I think if you want to have a proper display, definitely some due diligence is required to ensure that you have a very dope display that everybody can look at and enjoy. I mean, nobody wants to see a horrible display with your kitchen sink or other miscellaneous household items in the background. So just a very simple rule. I think it's also a mark of respect for the other artists in the community. Nobody wants to see a horrible display. So that's all from me for the moment in terms of my very simple tutorial. So this is what I call the Stark rule. Wow, I'm in total awe of this figure. The new 52 Hawkman, something I've been wanting to get for the longest time, and thanks to my bro Rick Valdez, he got me this figure. And wow, I mean, it's like certain parts are shared, you know, the wings are the same as the earlier DCUC wave of Hawkman, but it's been repainted. And the rest of the figure, the character is also been resculpted. So here he has a new expression, a new mask, new props, the detailing on the figure, everything is like wow. I mean, it's like so amazing. So you know, it's been a while since I've done figure reviews, you know, because of the busyness of having large hauls and preparing for the A.C.B.A World Championship tournament. But this is one of the better figures I've received in recent times. So wow, I mean, I'm gonna be quite aggressive, you know, looking at this figure. I'm gonna give him a 9.5 out of 10. You know, I don't really have any complaints about this figure. I think the only thing he loses half a point for is that he has an ab crunch, but you know, just now I tried to fiddle around with his ab articulation, and it's not that easy to move, but it's a minor gripe. Overall, this guy is really very impressive, so I give him 9.5 on my awesomeness scale. So this is a must-have figure to get, you know, amongst the new 52 releases. So what are you waiting for? Go get your Hawkman now. Everyone in the community is eagerly awaiting the results of the A.C.B.A World Championship Tournament Round 1, myself included. So in case you guys aren't already aware, I'm contestant number 77. So not just the other guys, but myself, we are kind of avoiding very big displays and trying to think of ideas, concepts, themes that possibly could be the theme for round 2. You know, myself included, I've been speculating, but you know, that's the thing about speculation, you can never be certain. Nobody's a mind reader. So anyways, I'm digressing. So in the meantime, I'm still doing displays, getting some practice. So here I decided to do a very simple display. As mentioned previously multiple times, Booster Gold is my favorite DC character. You know, definitely the goofiness and the time traveling element, definitely those are two attributes that I love. So as mentioned previously, I have the variant, the two variants from the DCUC line. So this is the classic. So how do you tell the classic from the modern? Is that the classic version of Booster has the collar. The modern version is collarless. And the Skeets is also different. This is the classic Skeets, whereas the modern Skeets is more squarish and flatter. So these Skeets didn't come with the Booster figure. In fact, the Skeets is kind of MIA at the moment. So I borrowed these Skeets from the DC Direct version. So just a very simple setup I have here. I think the fun element with Booster is that he time travels, so you can put him in any scenario, past, future, futuristic. You know, you can put him in a ruin, you can put him in a classroom, you can basically put him anywhere. So here I just have a display with the, I believe it's the Juggernaut base from Marvel Legends. So I just have him kind of creeping through the damage gate with Skeets accompanying him, and then just a simple cutout where he says what's there. So nothing fancy, but I think it's quite dope. You know, the Booster is a very colorful character. You know, I mean aesthetically, as with a lot of DC characters, so he stands out very well against the very dull backdrop. So yep, I'm just gonna take some pictures and then you can check it out on the A.C.B.A Facebook group. My annoying cough is back, but I'm still going to persist with my recording. So here I have the modern version of Booster Gold. So with the same backdrop as the previous display I did with the classic Booster Gold. So I'm using the same cutout but with a different Skeets. But Skeets has the same cutout as well. So I'm currently kind of in this mode where I'm doing a lot of B-sides. I think it's pretty cool. So, you know, doing the same figure or similar characters in similar situations. I think this is quite nice. You know, I put the modern Booster in a different pose. So kind of a variation, but there are some similarities between the two. So it's nice to have you know, just an alternate display featuring similar elements of the display. So here I kind of have him looking at his wrist. So, you know, he's wearing a very modern futuristic suit with a lot of gadgets. So I in a way I have him kind of referring to one of his gadgets to collect some information. So yeah, just something I did for fun, a quick display I put together. So check it out on the A.C.B.A Facebook group. I received all three figures, the Iron Man figures from the new Iron Man wave. I bought them at quite a reasonable price without the Ironmonger bath pieces. So I was racking my brain trying to figure out a way to incorporate all three armors in a single display, because I didn't want to you know, do different displays. I already have a custom Iron Patriot, and I didn't want to do another Dark Avengers display. So I was thinking through, you know, what I wanted to do, and I decided to do this display. So it's a nice way of incorporating all three into a single shot. So I just have Tony here in the Extremist suit, getting drunk, and in the backdrop I have all three armors together with him. So yeah, just a very simple display I put together. But I think it's nice and simple, yet not too dull a way of having all of them in a single shot. So not entirely something brand new, but yet at the same time I think it's a decent enough display. So besides these bunch of Iron Man figs, I actually have a DCUC Joker, sorry, not Joker, Riddler in his classic jumpsuit. So this bunch of guys actually arrived yesterday, but yesterday was a very long day for me. By the time I got home, took a shower, I actually knocked out, and I only woke up like this afternoon, and I had to rush to church. So here I am, you know, quickly putting together some displays, especially for this episode of M.A.T.O. So stay tuned for the Riddler display. Here I have the DCUC Riddler. So I have him kind of like in a boss pose at a table with cigars, his Riddle stuff, a can of beer, a pistol, cash, and here Bane is his bodyguard, and I have like a businessman or a mafia boss. Actually, I'm not too sure what I want him to be, handing over some documents. So Riddler is kind of warning him. So yeah, just a very simple display, but dope nonetheless. I've never actually used Bane in the display, so I thought it would be quite apt to have him here. And yeah, I think the result came out quite well. So I kind of like this Riddler figure quite a lot. The interesting thing about DCUC figures is that a lot of them share same parts, same body parts, but yet at the same time, Mattel manages to make the figures pretty interesting. I think the colors and the paint apps and the tiny details, even the belt looks pretty interesting. So I quite like this figure a lot. So this is from Hugo Arias. So we did a trade. He sent me this Riddler figure in exchange for 4 Mini-Mates items. So I'm quite happy with this trade. So I mean, shipping to Canada can be quite expensive, but yeah, I'm glad I did this trade, and I'm glad that I finally have this Batman robe in my collection. So check out the ACBA pictures on the ACBA Facebook group. So till the next episode, take care, ciao.